Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to everybody. I'm Zainab Isaji. On behalf of TCS Optara, I welcome you all in today's webinar, which is the Gratitude Challenge led by Kamal Akhtar. Before giving you the brief about the webinar, I just want to share some of the housekeeping rules of the 60 minutes webinar with you. I would request all the attendees to keep themselves on the listen-only mode. And the session is being live streamed on Facebook, which is Facebook/Team Optara. Any of your participants or any of your friends who have not been able to join via Zoom, they can join us on our Facebook page. This webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel, Optara Trainings. If you have any of the questions during the presentation or during the presentation, it will be taken towards the end. So you can write it down in the chat panel and me or the speaker will answer the questions. On full participation, you will be getting a digital certificate from Optara. If you face any of the technical difficulties during the session, like you can't hear properly or something like that, so you can just mention in the chat panel and we will entertain you on this, or you can email it to Sarimati, who is the co-host over here right now. Now, during pandemic, TCS Optara, they came up with a digital platform by the name of TCS Optara WebMall Plus. It's a brainchild of our CEO, Jamil Janjua. And over here, it's been a year where we are being sharing. It's a Netflix of learning resources, and it's been a year that we are sharing over here free webinars for the leadership developments, virtual trainings, professional discussions, some of the free insights on HRM, and it's a free value-adding service from TCS Optara, and you guys can register over here, and you can get daily updates on this. This is a registration link on the below. It's optara.com/webmall. I will be sharing the same link in the chat for you guys to register. Same during this time recently, we came up with a thought, and it's a thought of obviously by JJ, and we introduced another group by the name of Made in Pakistan Web Mall, a Phoenix Rising. Over here, it's an open group where our members, they just share the positive achievements by the Pakistan, about Pakistan and by the Pakistanis. So it's very flourishing. And for both the things, if you would like to register, this is a link I will share in the chat group. Now, just give me a few minutes, like 2 minutes, or I will be sharing a video with you of our CEO, Jamil Janjua, where he is going to introduce you about what Optara is and what Optara is being doing.
Hi, hello. My name is Jamil Janjua, and I'm the CEO of TCS Optara. Optara is a company that belongs to the TCS Group of family, and it has established an enviable reputation as being one of the leading executive training service providers in Pakistan. A large part of our success is attributed to our chairman, Mr. Khalid Wan, whose personal commitment to encourage the development of the people at both TCS and at the Pakistan level. It has been very, very stimulating and very, very inspiring for us. We take great pride in delivering high quality learning experiences which are based on extensive research of training needs, after which programs are created, working with the best possible trainer, the content developed to address the needs, then marketed as a series of leadership acceleration programs, and finally delivered, ensuring all logistics is taken care of to ensure a high quality learning experience. Our team motto at Optara is to help you succeed. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the video. Now, please allow me to introduce the speaker of the day, Kamal Akhtar. Kamal Akhtar is a senior consultant, learning facilitator, and educationist for 9 years. She's a faculty member at IBA Karachi. She's a creator and the conductor of the annual The Gratitude Challenge, mental and physical well-being believer. Other than that, I would like to add over here that she is a very good cyclist, and she enjoys cycling with her daughter. And during pandemic, like we have done something for you guys for the digital platform. She has introduced for you guys uh, tempting sauces by the name of So Good. So if you guys want to follow her with her so good sauces, you can follow her on Instagram. Now over to you, Kamal.
Thank you so much, Zainab. A very detailed, introduction about me, mentioning a home venture, a family venture as well, but and my hobbies as well. So a very thorough introduction about me. Zainab, I was just thinking before we begin, we've got a fantastic turnout right now. Should we take a group picture right now, or should we take it towards the very end?
Okay, we can take it right now. We can ask
Yeah.
people today
All
on
right,
their videos.
everybody. Assalamu alaikum. I hope all of you can hear me right now. Just drop a quick yes in the chat box if you all can. A quick yes in the chat box if you all can hear me clearly. Fantastic. All right. So what we're going to do in the beginning of this webinar is take a nice group photo just to, kind of like mark this in our memory and maybe just look back at it fondly as something that changed the way we were living our lives. So I'm just going to be opening up the gallery view. I would like to request all of you to turn on your videos. And since it's a very positive topic that we have going on for today, a very optimistic one, yeah, you can fix your hair. I see a lot of people fixing their hair, their hairdos and fixing themselves, and just put a big smile on your face so that we could have a nice photograph of all of you. Zainab, you tell us when we are good to go. When
Sarim is going to click it, my colleague. Sarim.
All right. Sarim, so आप हमें direct करें, please. That's okay, Rizwan. Keep your mask on. We will not ask you to, do something that would put other people at risk. So you can show the smile through your eyes, maybe. You can always put forward that positive expression through your eye contact as well. No smile, no look. All right, no problem. No problem at all. We are done?
Yeah.
All right, Chale. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, let's begin with our webinar for today. I'm so glad to see such a fantastic turnout, by the way. The Gratitude Challenge made me realize that it's something definitely that a lot of people are seeking, are looking out for, because we're going through a lot of instability. Things are not stable. They haven't been stable for the past 1.5 years. So we had so many registrations that we had to turn some of them down. And it's so great to see that right now we have close to 50 people, 48 people online right now, and more will hopefully join in soon, something that definitely connects with them. We're going to be talking, our webinar's name is called the Gratitude Challenge, which is a challenge that I've been conducting annually for around 4 years now. It's something that's directed towards cultivating gratitude for related to two goals that we set for ourselves, which is self-care and success. When we think about self-care and success, we often think about things that we can do or touch or see ourselves doing, right? Gratitude is something that's more innate, that's more in you, that's more as a part of the way you think on a day-to-day basis. So we're going to be talking about how to frame our minds or our thinking patterns in order to connect it with self-care as a good strategy for self-care, and then kind of like lead it towards personal and organizational success. So, but before that, I would like to tell you the story behind the Gratitude Challenge and why I came up with it, or how it basically started. So I've been doing this for 4 years now. Like I told you, I've been conducting it not only for myself, for other professionals, people who are caretakers at home, my students at IBA, anybody and everybody who'd like to join in. But there's a story behind why I actually started it, or I felt that I needed it, or people around me, professionals like yourselves, basically needed it. Around 4 years back, there was no COVID. Obviously, we were all not masked up. We were all going around traveling at ease. So around 4 years back, I was at a stage in my professional career where I was at my busiest. I'm still busy right now, but I clearly remember that at that time, I was not only professionally busy, but mentally, I was preoccupied in a lot of things. It was not a very healthy mental frame of mind that I was in. And I'm sure that all of you can remember that particular time in your careers where you've had projects coming your way, that constant hustle bustle in your work, and you're always on the go. And you remember that time as a very crucial time in your career, but you also remember the stress that you were going through. So in that time when we should be, or I should have been, actually grateful for the opportunities, or grateful for, just going around the country and conducting training programs, and, having a teaching career as an educationist at IBA, I remember myself being very, very stressed out, always thinking, always having this fear of missing out. And apart from that, I was physically unhealthy as well. So both mental health and physical health, they unfortunately go hand in hand. And my breaking point actually, came when I was just driving back home with my kids in the car, and I got blackouts in the middle of driving. They were very small blackouts, like around 2 to 3 seconds, but the anxiety was at such a peak that I was having breathing issues, weight issues, and that resulted in me putting myself and my family at risk while driving on the way back home. Things look good. Everything was good on paper. Everything was excellent on social media, but I was not achieving that level of satisfaction, that level of inner peace. So that was my breaking point, and I thought that no, something has to change. This is not the way I should be leading my life. And I started finding out that, what is it that can help me change it. So whenever you want to change, you go towards, a fitness journey. You enroll yourself in a gym, you start eating healthy, you start taking time out for yourself, for self care. But when you think about it, हम जिम में तो इनरोल कर लेते हैं, लेकिन वो सिर्फ कुछ हफ्तों की मेंबरशिप होती है, right? The motivation doesn't last too long. I wanted a long term life change, and that long term life change can only happen when you're mentally on the same path. You're connected with it, you're in it. The motivation is long term. And that's when I actually started to study about gratitude and the phenomenal impact that it has on our brains, the impact that it has on our social interactions, and on the way we perform at work as well. And I started studying into it, and this is a challenge that I started conducting first for myself. And since I have a public platform on social media, a lot of people who are following me, they joined on board. The challenge was pretty simple. We set basic goals for ourselves, like 2 weeks of, the gratitude challenge, and or 50 days of the gratitude challenge, or 100 days of the gratitude challenge. And what happened was that I built a community of people, of like minded professionals, of like minded individuals who wanted to develop a long term, grateful, positive mindset. And we had some very, just putting these snapshots in front of you, we had some great challenges. I used to give them day to day challenges that, just choose something on your desk that you're grateful for today, or something great that happened at work that you're grateful for, or something related to your family. And sometimes I used to give them no guidelines at all, anything that they wanted to share with their fellow members, with their fellow community members that they were grateful about. And we had some fantastic responses from people, because this is something that I felt humans crave for. This mental stability, this appreciation for the small things around us. And, so we had a Corona Times Gratitude Challenge chapter, which was something that we definitely needed. Then following that, 100 days of gratitude. And then we got done with it. All of us, a group of professionals, individuals, students, everybody together, helping each other, sharing with each other to try to develop a grateful mindset. So this was a small background on the gratitude challenge and what it is about, and what I'm going to be talking about today. But I'm often asked that, why focus on gratitude? Why did you think that gratitude is something that would work for you? Or why is it something that we particularly need? Let me tell you what gratitude actually does for us, or what my research or what I studied about it, what I've read up about it. what it actually helps us do. It is an often overlooked coping mechanism. Definitely. Um, Ever since we got stuck with the pandemic, we've been scrambling for coping mechanisms. When we talk about team excursions, when we talk about giving our team members a break, we often talk about team hangouts, a barbecue party, a training session. We talk about taking them on a trip. But that's something that, if we talk about the pandemic specifically, it's something that was just not possible for those initial few months. It's still not possible on a lot of in a lot of cases right now. So then organizations were left with absolutely no coping mechanisms. Everybody was just struggling to perform, struggling to just get back in the game. So we don't think about gratitude often enough. It's a coping mechanism that is often overlooked completely, because we assume that grateful hona kya hota hai, it's something that's a part of us, it's something that's a part of our culture. But have we ever thought about it as a business strategy? Probably not. So it's something that offers a deeper solution to morale challenges, right? The pandemic started around 1.5 years back. More than that, it still hasn't gone. And similarly, turbulent times, you can't associate a timeline to them, that okay, our company is going through this, or I'm going through this time, it's going to end in a week, or it's going to end in 2 months. So we can't associate deadlines with turbulent times. We don't know when they end. That's why they're turbulent. They're risky, they're uncertain, and that's why we lose our cool. We lose everything that we have in control, a control of during these times. They're called turbulent because of a reason. So the gratitude, or developing a grateful mindset, what it does is it provides a deeper solution to morale challenges, a long-term solution, trying to get inside your thinking patterns and change them around. So how it works for you: when you practice gratitude or being grateful regularly, frequently, every single day, when it's expressed over a long term period, not like aaj kar liya kal nahi kiya, over a long period, what it does, it changes the way you think, it changes the way you feel mentally, it has an impact on your emotional and mental health, and then your thinking perspective, or your perspective of on your life. And what it does for your organization is, when you cultivate being grateful or expressing gratitude in your organization's culture, what it helps your employees do is develop healthier coping mechanisms, which is something that's the need of the hour. It's something that we need to get by in the pandemic, because it's still going on, and later on prepare our employees for future situations that may arise, like the one that we are going through right now. So we need to train them so that they are able to quickly settle down into a contingency plan that we've come up for them. We need to train them, we need to develop this coping mechanism that they have. So that's why I felt that gratitude is something that definitely needs working on. Anything that you want to change in your lives, you need to be motivated about it. But to be motivated for the long term about it, you need to develop a healthier, more positive mindset. But why is it a challenge? That's what I want to talk about. Why did I term it as the gratitude challenge? Why can't it be a grateful mindset, or cultivating gratitude, or practicing gratitude on a daily basis? So it is a challenge, but a lot of people seem to really really like practicing gratitude. They've done it throughout their careers, at the beginning when they were nobodies, then later on, even right now when they're successful somebodies, they still talk about and practice gratitude on a daily basis. But let's just bring it to home. What about us, the local corporate sector and professionals? Why is it a challenge particularly for us? Let me just kind of like paint a picture about what I found out at the beginning of this 4 year journey, about what I found out when I spoke to people, spoke to professionals, top management teams and organizations, when I read about gratitude, and what I felt that we were missing out upon. So it's a challenge. Why? Because there's this disbelief around it. As in our local corporate sector, even at us as professionals or as individuals living in this region, there's a disbelief around something that doesn't have any thing concrete attached to it, something that we can't touch. So we don't believe that. It's like a pitch used by made by a used car salesman. that, just be grateful, say Alhamdulillah, and everything will change. Your life will turn around. You'll get the girl of your dreams. You'll get the car of your dreams. You'll get the house of your dreams, the job of your dreams. And it just seems very far-fetched that, if I start thinking gratefully, is this all that's going to be happening? There's a disbelief associated with it. And the thing is that we are in a region where we have a lot of troubles on our plate, to be honest. We have an infrastructure that, goes against us at in the hour when we need it the most. We are working with people who are yet to accept gratitude or empathy as a way of conducting work. So we are already a pretty skeptical people. So, when we come across something like this, there's an automatic disbelief to it that, I can't touch this thing, I can't see it. Show me the ROI, show me the, the returns that I'll get immediately. How much cash do I need to invest? So there's a general disbelief. Then, on the other hand, it's perceived to be very easy, isn't it? When we talk about gratitude, it's like, yeah, it's gratitude that they're talking about, as in gratitude is something that's very easy, isn't it? But it isn't, because the way we are tackling gratitude is not the right way. We are not perceiving it as a business strategy. We are not looking into how we should be practicing it. We are not looking into how it can be used as a strategy. So it's perceived to be easy, but it really, really isn't. And how we tackle gratitude on a cultural basis, if I can be very honest with you, we don't think about it as a lifestyle, long-term, mindset change. We don't think about it as a business strategy. It's a part of our general, how our general conversation, how we speak. So, Alhamdulillah is something that we use on a regular basis. But do we use it in the right way? Do we understand what it actually means? Do we understand how we're supposed to be using it? It's something that we tell everybody to use. If we have a friend who's going through a hard time, we help them, identify the positivities in their life, and we tell them, just say Alhamdulillah, everything will be fine. That's a good strategy, but can there be more to it? Definitely yes. So how should you be grateful? That's something that we're missing out upon. How do we use it as a strategy for ourselves, for our organization? That's something that we're missing out upon. So what a grateful mindset, why is it a challenge? Because it's something that requires persistent attention. Persistent is the word over here. Anything that's persistent in the long term is a bit hard to continue. You do it for 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, then after a while you're just like, I can't continue with it. How do I do that? But that's where the challenge is. You have to keep on continuing with it in order to bring that internal change in yourselves, in your team members, in your organizations. So that's where the gratitude challenge actually came from. So now we understand why it's necessary for us. What's the challenge behind it? Let's look at some of the benefits that a grateful mindset can give us. Something that I found out, and I thought that, this is what I need. If I'm starting my workouts, if I'm starting to look after my physical health, how do I continue it for year after year? How do I make it into a lifestyle change? It's because of these benefits that are here. You get automatic physical benefits. When your anxiety is at bay, you start appreciating your body more. You start managing your sleep patterns in a better manner. You exercise more. There's increased self-care that you acknowledge. You take care of this body that God has gifted you. Then there are obvious psychological benefits to a grateful mindset. There's a surge of positive emotions. You feel more alert, alive when you're dealing with work, when you're at home. You feel a general joy and optimism, or you're in a positive frame of mind over most of the day. And that's something that helps you end the day on a positive note. There's also, when you practice a grateful mindset, you start extending gratitude towards others in a more meaningful manner as well. So the culture in your organization or in your department or with your team members, that changes as well. Everybody becomes more helpful, more generous, more expressive. Your thank yous are not just blanketed expressions, they become more meaningful. You establish better social connections and relationships and interactions with people you work with, people at home, people you interact with in all aspects of life. And personal and professional lives, you're the same in both. You can't just say, okay, that, it'll help me in my professional life. It'll help your life in general, on the whole. And that's something that all of us should be aiming for. All right. So these are the benefits that actually got me thinking that, yes, this is the pathway that I should be taking in order to make sure that I don't come back here again. And that's something that all of you should be thinking about as well, that, I need to take it for the long term. I can't do it for like a week, for 1 or 2 days. It needs to be long term. And that's what a grateful mindset helps you in achieving. So how should we be approaching it? How should we be approaching a grateful mindset? Um, like I said, it needs to be an entire approach to life. It can't be a 1 day, 2 day thing that you do or a momentous thing that you do. It has to be an entire approach to life that you change. You need to make it, and it's not something that comes naturally to us, especially during the times that we are going through. We've got the pandemic going on. There are job security issues. There are challenges related to home, family. Maybe you have family that's unfortunately fallen sick to the virus that's going around. It's not easy. It has to be intentional. You have to take this decision for yourself that, yes, this is what I'm going to be doing as a personal project for myself. Until and unless you don't take it as a project, a long-term project, that this is, I'm going to be changing my entire approach to how I live my life, no change is going to be happening. So that's one thing that you need to remember. Think of it as a business strategy. So when we start our jobs and when we are, leading teams, for example, I had lots of questions coming in from team leaders that, how do we incorporate a grateful mindset as a leader? You do it by thinking about it as a business strategy. You think about it as a strategy for your own professional success, as well as the success of your team members, as well as the success of your organization. So it's not only a mindset that you're achieving. You use it as a strategy, like any other strategy, to push profits up, to push revenues up. All of you are a part of an organization. You must have seen the low morals that your employees or members of your organization, the low morale levels that they went through, especially during this 1.5 year. No matter how many benefits you give to human beings, you give to professionals, at the end of the day, it's their morale that actually brings them back to work. It's something that pushes them, helps them get through turbulent times. So treat it like a business strategy. Then also regarded as an emotional muscle. So I don't know how many of you are interested in fitness, but that's something that I definitely got interested in the past 4 years. Whenever you don't use a muscle anywhere in your body, it gets flabby, there are fatty deposits to it. You feel lethargic, don't you, when you don't exercise, especially for people who exercise on a regular basis. You get cranky, you get angry, there's anxiety that sets over you. So a grateful mindset is an emotional muscle that needs to be exercised. Whenever you stop exercising it, you go back into a mindset that's negative, that's demotivated, that's completely stressed out. So it has to be something that you do every single day. Your emotional health matters. The emotional health of your employees matters, of your team members matters, of people at your home matters. So start talking about it a bit more. Start thinking that, yes, I deserve to be emotionally healthy as well. And to do that, I need to think about developing a grateful mindset on a regular basis as a strategy, not only for myself, but for my organization as well. So that should be your approach to a grateful mindset. So when you begin thinking about it, you're approaching a grateful mindset, you're thinking about it, where should your focus be? How should you be regarding it? That should be your next question. So your gratitude focus should be on developing an objective for yourself. So if you want to begin a challenge for yourself, for example, to develop a grateful mindset, set a timeline for yourself. Let's see if I can do 2 weeks of being grateful every single day. Let's see if I can do it for 50 days. Let's see if I can do it with my team members for 100 days, like we did in a previous gratitude challenge, which was a coaching program for a company. So set objectives for yourself, set goals for yourself. This is what I need to achieve. And then keep it going on. Don't just say that, all right, I'm done with 2 weeks. So that's it. I'm done. End of the gratitude challenge. No. Increase your challenge. Test yourself out a bit more. So keep an objective for yourself. Secondly, it should be a genuine effort. It shouldn't be something that you do just for the heck of it. It shouldn't be something that you don't wholeheartedly believe in. Make it genuine for yourself. Give it a genuine, wholehearted, honest shot. Don't just treat it lightly as, oh, I just remembered it. I have to do this. No, put it in your to-do list that I have to do this sometime during the day. Make sure it's frequent. So make sure it's something that you do every single day. If you set a goal for yourself, put it in your to do list and make sure it's something that you regularly do. So that should be your overall focus of your gratitude. That's the timeline, the goal setting that you should be doing. Now, moving onwards, how do you translate this focus into strategies for yourself personally? I'm just going to be going to how it should be done for organizations and for team members as well. But let's talk about how you should get started, because it all starts from you. Whether you're a professional, whether you're a student, we have some students today as well. Whether it's for caretakers at home, people who are taking care of elderly or young in their home. So you need to start with yourself. You need to focus on how you do it for yourself first. So you've got the approach, you've got the focus. Now let's look at the strategies by which you can practice gratitude. Take some time to figure out what works for you. What might work for some people might not be something that works for you. For example, when I started studying or reading up on gratitude, the most common form of practicing gratitude was meditation by a lot of people, the names of whom I've put up on a previous slide: Will Smith, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bill Gates, huge organizations like Inc. or like Forbes. When they talk about gratitude, quite often they talk about meditation, but I felt that this is not something that works for me. So find out what works for you. Does meditation work for you? In my coaching programs on the gratitude challenge, I've had professionals who say that, I like to practice gratitude when I'm offering my obligatory prayers, when I'm offering my namaz. That's something that works for you. Good enough. For other professionals, they like focusing on it in the morning. For others, towards the end of the day, right before they sleep. For some professionals, it's just randomly, whatever clicks with them at a particular point in time. So, what works with you? Figure that out. But that doesn't mean that you can't change that around. If you feel that for a certain time period, you are going to be focusing on gratitude or thinking about what makes you grateful early in the morning, you can obviously change it around after a couple of days if you feel that, okay, this does not work for me now. So, again, figure out what works for you. That's something that's very, very important, because it's you that's important over here. All right. So whatever works for you, that's absolutely whatever makes you feel comfortable, that's what you should be going for. This point is very, very important. Quantify your gratitude, document it, make it purposeful, note it down. And it's something that actually, makes your gratitude challenge come full circle. It makes your grateful mindset, your pursuit of a grateful mindset come full circle. You need to quantify your gratitude. And that's where, we actually debunk this cultural mindset that we have, that alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. What are you doing well in? What are you grateful about? What is that alhamdulillah for? That's how we quantify it, by taking it one step further, thinking about it, documenting it. How can you document it? You can keep a gratitude journal for yourself where you're noting things down. You can make it into a scrapbook by taking pictures and then documenting it. I do it on my Instagram and on my social media because I've got lots of people who attempt this challenge with me. So it motivates them as well to take part in it. And then there are lots of people who like taking pictures from their mobile phones and developing complete albums dedicated to the gratitude challenge. What it helps you do is when you document it, you're forced to think about this grateful moment for slightly longer. And suppose after a few days, you're having a really bad day, a very bad day. And that's something that happens to all of us. None of us have smooth sailing lives. I mean, if someone else, I would really like to be in their position. None of us have smooth sailing lives. So when we on such days, this documentation, it actually really helps us. We can go back to it, we can look at it, we can think back to the good memories or things that we've been grateful for all this while. It's very difficult with how busy our lives have become. It's very difficult to remember something good that happened maybe 2 weeks before. So when you look at all the things that left you satisfied, left you feeling grateful, that you yourself have documented, you will push your mind to try for that day as well, to try for that grateful mindset on that particular really horrible day as well. So start quantifying your gratitude, start documenting it. And then remind yourself that nothing is too small to not be on your gratitude list. In the numerous gratitude challenges that I've conducted, as in, you can't always note down a work accomplishment. Sometimes it doesn't really happen, or an accomplishment by one of your children, or something major that happened, a huge happy moment that happened. I think the pandemic forced me in particular and other professionals who were with me on the gratitude challenge to focus on the small things. So we've had contributions where, participants of the gratitude challenges conducted in the past, they sent in pictures of a beautiful flower that they noticed, a regular flower on their morning walk that's vibrant, that's pink, and they felt grateful to be able to look at it, to be able to focus on it. Then there are people who sent in, pictures of a coffee or their mid-work chai. I'm sure a lot of you are grateful for that, having your, tea breaks in the middle of a working day. Then others just, shared a message that they received, or, just taking out time for their children. It can be something small, but that doesn't mean that it's not big enough to help you develop a grateful mindset. It can be anything that helps you feel positive during the day, that helps you with the realization that you have a lot to be grateful for. Then you need to be able to extend that gratitude. I feel that really helps. When you feel grateful for somebody or for something that somebody did, write a thank you note, take it forward, extend that gratitude. Don't just say a simple thank you, tell them what you're thankful about. Write that thank you note, write that message, express your gratitude, express what you're grateful for. When you do that, it kind of like comes back to you. When someone acknowledges your thanks, it comes back to you and you feel even better, right? So it's a wonderful, wonderful cycle of effects, of positive effects, and it really, really helps you establish better emotional health. Then, for really bleak days when nothing seems to work out, I say perform a gratitude body scan. This particularly worked for me last year when I was conducting a gratitude challenge. And if anybody remembers, the aeroplane crash happened on Model Colony, and there were lots of precious lives that were lost. It was very difficult for me to continue with the challenge in those days, and but I had to come back because life has to go on. There are a lot of people that you're responsible for. And for those bleak days, what helped me was performing a gratitude body scan. When I can't see anything I'm grateful for around myself, I can look at myself and I can feel grateful for my body parts that I can move, things that I can taste, legs that I can move, that I can, exercise with, that I can jump around with, walk around with, smells that I can smell, things that I can hear, music that I can hear. So simply a gratitude body scan is the simplest form of strategy to practice gratitude on days when you just don't feel like doing the gratitude challenge. But the important thing to do is to keep on going on, keep continuing, keep the struggle on. You can't quit. All right. So just with any exercise or any positive lifestyle, you don't quit. You shouldn't quit with the gratitude challenge. It needs to be a daily thing that's done frequently. And lastly, how do we, that's us working on ourselves, but how do we translate it into our organization culture? What should we as leaders or members of an organization do? How should we practice gratitude in our organization? How should we make sure that our employees develop this healthier coping mechanisms to get through turbulent times for themselves? First and foremost, I know it sounds very cliched, but talk to your team. Quite often, when we, as leaders, when we don't talk to our teams, when we don't know what our team members are going through, we can't develop the right kind of gratitude strategy for them. We adopt a one size fits all for everybody. Take them out on a lunch, bring a cake and celebrate with everybody. But in order to be able to nurture this cultural, this grateful mindset and make sure that every single person develops a healthier coping mechanism, you have to be creative about it. You have to think that, okay, this worked. during last week. What can I do in this new week in order to make sure that my team members come to work feeling more grateful, feeling more optimistic, and there I'm able to help them get through these turbulent times. So until and unless you don't talk to your team, you don't understand the challenges that they're going through, or the problems that they're going through at home or at work, you won't understand what it is that you actually need to tap into to develop this grateful mindset. Then practice what you preach. So if you are not practicing a grateful mindset yourself, why should your team members follow you, or why would your team members adopt the same thing? You can run gratitude challenges in-house. I've had companies who I've spoken to regarding the gratitude challenge about, and I've sent them like complete outlines of how they can run it for their departments. So companies, they develop WhatsApp groups, they develop Facebook groups, they develop a pattern, a schedule where they meet for weekly meetings, and all they talk about on these platforms or in these occasions is gratitude. What are they grateful about? What are they happy about? And they discuss it. They take out time to discuss it, because it has to be something that occurs frequently, and something that's an intentional change, not only in yourselves, but also in people around you, in your organizations. So it has to be a business strategy. You need to practice what you preach. You need to showcase that in your leadership personality. You need to talk about it more. You need to back it up with sincerity and authenticity. So when you're actually trying to do it for yourself, share your journey with your team members, with your colleagues, with your peers, with people you are leading. Tell them about it. Give it an honest shot and communicate how important it is to stay sincere to it. Tell them how important it is, how crucial it is to key company goals. Help them relate to it. And when you, as a leader, talk about a grateful mindset, your employees, your team members, your peers, and colleagues, they themselves will understand how important it is for themselves, how important it is for their personal success and for their organization success as well. So, attach all the goals related to it. Remember, in the previous slide, we talked about deadlines, timelines, giving it a sincere thought, thinking about what works for you. All of that comes down here in making it sincere, making it authentic. Then appreciation, when you extend your gratitude, it must be very, very specific. So avoid blanketed expressions of gratitude. Avoid the simple go-to strategy like employee of the month, salesperson of the month. Extend it forward. Take it forward from just team dinners or team excursions. What else can you do? How else can you express gratitude? Can you do it by personalizing your expression, sending thank you notes, having one-on-one consultations, throwing parties, having a discussion with team members, talking about gratitude in weekly meetings, developing WhatsApp groups where you discuss the gratitude challenge, take it as something that you could do as a team together. So all these strategies, they are very, very creative. They help you in avoiding those typical, strategies that we have for extending our gratitude. Why can't we do it in a more personalized way, in a more creative way? When you start thinking out of the box when it comes to developing grateful mindset, that's when we start achieving a grateful culture in our organizations. Just an example over here, Walt Disney started doing this during the pandemic, and like all industries, even their industry was hit by the repercussions of the pandemic. And what they started doing was that instead of the employee of the month, they started having weekly meetings where there was a talk about healthy habits and being grateful. And then they had yoga sessions coming in, a yoga instructor coming in and conducting mindfulness sessions with employees. And when they changed this basic method or strategy of expressing gratitude for their team members or employees conducting their work in the best possible way, there was a massive 15% increase or improvement in the overall morale in this organization. Imagine what running a simple gratitude challenge, if you want, or any other strategy that works for you, that helps you develop a grateful mindset, or just talking about emotional and mental health a bit more. Imagine what it can do for your teams. If it's something that works for individuals, it's something that can definitely work for individuals in your organization and in your teams. So some key strategies for leaders. It all begins from you, though. If you believe it with sincerity, with a lot of honesty, wholeheartedly, that's when it can actually transcend to your organizations. It can transcend to or transfer on to members of your organization and become a part of organizational culture or organizational success. Remember, gratitude at the end of the day is actually pretty simple. It's a very simple concept. But what makes it complicated is how to nurture it into a lifelong change. A shift in your lifestyle, a shift in your mindset. How do we make it something into long term? And that's where the challenge is. But that's something definitely that can be tackled, that can be changed, that can help you in understanding that, whatever I have in front of me is enough. This challenge can definitely be achieved if we approach gratitude or we focus on it in the right way, if we treat it like a business strategy as opposed to something that's just inherently there. It's not. It's a strategy, it's a change in your lifestyle, it's a change in your focus, and it's something that can definitely do wonders for your personal journey as well as the journeys and the health of your team members, their mental health, their emotional health, and can definitely translate into organizational success for all of you. All right, thank you so much. Um, this is our webinar, our presentation for today. I'm just going to be stopping the sharing button.
It was an interesting session.
Thank
I
you so
think
much.
now, and I think I should like start following this gratitude challenge, anything in the day. I used to call my mom in like after namaz so that this brings something to me, like, but I'll work something for my team also now.
Definitely.
Okay, there are like there's a question from Masood and Zainab, and there are three people asking the same question, that if we are following gratitude and positive attitude, however, management they neither they practice gratitude nor they change their negative attitude. So, what is your advice on it?
Yeah, so this is the best example of turbulent times that you go through, right? There are often things around us that we just can't control. Sometimes it can be, a member of the management who's just not, you are not able to connect to them. You are not able to, establish any kind of working relationship with them. Sometimes it can be a junior who just doesn't listen to you in our journey, in our professional careers. There's, I don't know about you guys, but I can hardly remember any time when I was 100% in control. There's always that 5%, 10%, 40%, 50%. That's really not in your control. And if everything is in control, sometimes the infrastructure is such that, that's something that's not in our control at all. So uh, in such a scenario, again, your management, your that has a negative attitude, you can't change them. But what you can do is, what is in your control is you and how you perceive things before you. Treat the management like the pandemic you're going through. Huh? Think about it that way. You can't control the pandemic, right? You can't change things that are around you, but what you can do is you can change the way you respond in a certain scenario. And the way you respond in a scenario, it can come from the mindset that you establish for yourselves, the way you groom yourselves to deal with adverse situations. So that's something that you can do. And ultimately, what the gratitude challenge or what a grateful mindset does is it helps you in taking those small purposeful steps towards making sure that you are able to become better in control of your external surroundings, or you're able to develop strategies, or you're able to develop coping mechanisms that enable you to still get the job done, to still come back to work and move ahead, take those steps forward in order to be able to, achieve your monthly goals or achieve your organizational goals. So let's stop, you know, I don't know, restricting ourselves to our negative management. It's a common complaint that often comes my way as a consultant, as a senior consultant, that, I have a boss who just doesn't listen to me. What do we do? What do we do about him or her? So you can't do anything. That's my answer. What you can do is how you respond in a certain situation. And that's something that definitely can change your circumstances.
Okay, just give me 2 minutes.
Sure,
I would
Lena.
like to share a screen. Okay, Now I would like to welcome one of our guests over here, Aisha Chaudhary. She is a founding member of TRG, Trainer Resource Group of Pakistan. She's an HR practitioner for more than 20 years. Ms. Aisha, I would like you to share some of your views from this webinar.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let me also tell you that I'm attending this in my personal capacity, okay? Not from my company's perspective, but I think just as somebody who is an HR practitioner and who feels that this is something that's very important for organizations as well as everybody else. Thank you for having me, for asking me, Zainab. And Kamal, thank you so much for linking this up so beautifully from one end to the next to the next. I think this is something, gratitude is something that we do tend to overlook. It gives us so much energy, and I think I personally experienced it as a family and otherwise as well. What I really liked was, what I think my learnings from what you have shared with us is the fact that why should we focus on gratitude in the first instance, right? That's important. And what does it do? It's basically something which it's just an overlooked way of coping because we tend to think it's so simple. That's why we tend to overlook it, I think. And that's something that I think we all tend to do a little bit of because it's so easy to do one-on-one, but it's so difficult to make it a practice and make it consistent and internalize it. And that's what you've talked about. That basically, how do we internalize this overall altogether? Um, I think in terms of you've given us wonderful tips about how do we basically, focus on it, how do we approach it in order to be able to reap the benefits of it. You've said my learnings from this are they're okay. Set an objective or timeline to practice it daily. And that's basically what I'm going to be sharing it because I'm going to extend your teachings forward, cover in that respect. Be genuine about it. Don't think it's a fad. You basically want to make a difference, want to make a difference to our emotional, personal well-being, emotional, our mental, our physical well-being. We've got to basically just internalize it and basically make it as frequent as it works for us. Something that I just wanted to, and there is a whole lot more. Honestly, I could go on, but we're short of time. So that's why I'm not going to because you've given us lots of nuggets. And thank you for that. Just something that I'd like to share from a past life and what I've seen practiced. For example, when I was at a place called Target Corporation USA or at other places, they actually build culture, gratitude into their culture by basically recognizing people in little ways. Because as soon as you appreciate people, appreciate means increase the value of, so you're actually appreciating and increasing the energy there, and you're making people feel good about themselves. And what you said, Kaval, you said that be sincere and authentic, right? In how you're doing it. Don't do a run-of-the-mill sort of approach. So it was different every single time. Celebrating little wins makes you feel grateful organizationally and as a team as well. Because when you celebrate wins, it energizes people, makes them feel grateful for that win, and makes them want to go and get more as well. What I've also found is just having a hearty laugh at the worst of times has actually just helped people. Overall, it's just helped them be more grateful for being around people who are happier and have more positive energy around them. And that makes them want to look for more laughs. So it becomes a little bit of a virtuous circle. During COVID times, we can't actually do things like, in terms of, we can't do many community days right now. Let's hope we're able to get back. But building gratitude when you see someone less fortunate, I think has basically just made it a little bit, was one strategy was to follow for more gratitude, for people to show gratitude and focus on gratitude. Because when you see people less fortunate, then you realize, oh God, what am I concerned about? There's so much to be grateful for. And coming back and debriefing from those community days and saying, hey, okay, what all are we grateful for? Each one of us. Let's go around the table. Those sorts of things and internalizing them basically were things that we found were very, very useful. So things like that, last but not least, just being grateful for having great people around us, great team members around us who work with us closely. We would give out great team cards, for instance. But there are a zillion ways of showing appreciation for people, because as soon as you make people feel good about themselves, you make them feel grateful for you, and you are showing your gratitude towards them, and you're automatically being grateful for having them in your lives. So that's basically something I've found helping. In terms of, I don't know if Zainab, you wanted me to answer that, the issue of backbiting, etc. I would defer to Kaval first about it. This is, or whatever you say.
Yeah, you can answer if you want to. It's open. And then we can ask Kamal also.
No, please go ahead, Aisha. You're speaking so beautifully on this topic. You've summed the whole webinar up so well. Why don't you put your point forward, and then I'll add on to it.
By all means, and thank you for that. Your gratitude is something which is very, very close to my heart, because I think it's just something that is so undervalued and we do so little of. We just need to internalize it. See, you will always have issues of backbiting, ignorance, and wrong judgments, right? Anytime you have people around you, कहते हैं ना कि जी ये जहाँ पर दो बर्तन होंगे वहाँ पर आवाज तो आएगी किसी ना किसी तरह से. The thing is that when you remember, nobody can make you feel anything without your consent. And if you say, hey, listen, I am not going to allow this person to spoil my day, I think that really, really helps. I had a junior colleague who had in a past life, and my boss's boss would call her in at times. She was my team member. He would call her in and he would get really upset with her. I had my own way of dealing with the situation, but I would really applaud her for it, because she would just deal with it as if it was water off a duck's back. Okay, 5 o'clock, 5:30. Okay, as soon as I'm done with today's work, I'm going home. I have a life outside the office. I'm not going to let this bother me. That sort of thing is helpful, I think. So I don't know if that helps. There are other ways as well, but I'm conscious of the time too.
Definitely, I absolutely agree with you, Aisha. It's about your focus. Again, going back to where should your gratitude focus be? It can be on the negativity around you. It can be on the backbiting that's going around you. It can be on your team members who you're just not satisfied with the way they're responding to you or the way they're interacting with you. Or it can be on the long-term goal that you've set for yourself. That if, for example, you take up this challenge, I'm going to focus on what makes me feel happy about myself, or what makes me feel particularly grateful for myself. Because at the end of the day, it's our personal journey that we're going on. It's our success that we're going towards. And that ultimately is going to translate into organizational success as well. So where is your focus? Is your focus too much on people who are passing on negative energy around them, are getting involved in activities like backbiting, like office politics, which is something that's always going to be there, no matter which organization you are in, no matter which position you are in, even if you are at the very top. This is something that's a part and parcel of a professional career. But what's not constant is your focus. So you can change. You are the one who has the power to change your focus from the negative things around you towards something that makes you feel grateful or positive about yourself, because it's your self-care that you have to keep in mind.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Aisha, for your answers and your contribution. Okay, there is a question from Tahir Naeem. He's asking how gratitude help if you are downgraded or demoted in your organization, and how gratitude help facing these types of situations.
Again, Tahir, thank you so much for this question. It's something I feel, unfortunately, in the past 1.5 years has happened to a lot of people around us. They've been asked to offer in forced resignations from organizations. Some people have had to face salary cutoffs. So a lot of things that were not really in our direct control have come about, and we've gone through so many things that we have absolutely no control over, or we didn't contribute to it, but sometimes these negative things happen. However, you need to ask yourself that, how do I go on from this, or how do I move ahead from this? Because you ultimately need to surge on, move on, get back in the game. That's something that's part and parcel of you moving ahead with your life. But how you choose to do that, so you can, there are two ways, two strategies or two mindsets that you can adopt when, regarding coming back in the game. You can think that, okay, this happened to me and I'm feeling very demotivated about it, but I need to get on with life, so I'm going to just get back and do what I can. Or what you can do is you can think about it as something that's a learning phase. You can think about why a particular thing happened, what you can do about it, and you can think about how you're supposed to get back and improve, or maybe come back to being, in the same position again, or even go towards bigger and better goals. Again, how can you do that? How can you switch from a negative mindset to a positive mindset? It's only when you cultivate this daily practice in yourself. That's something that motivates you. And coming back to the example that I shared in the webinar earlier on, you can think about bringing about these positive changes in your life, but they won't last more than a month, more than a week, more than a couple of days, unless you make them long term. And what the gratitude mindset does is it helps you develop stronger coping mechanisms. It helps you become mentally strong, so that given any adverse situation, given any negative scenario, given any turbulent times, you are able to get your act together, get back in the game, focus on the small things, and use that focus to be able to move on, to be able to survive. It is a coping mechanism, and sometimes I also like to term it as a survival technique as well, because nothing is going to move ahead unless you give that to yourself.
Okay, thank you. There is a question from Adil Ahmed. Gratitude is a function of a high trust culture, which is generally found missing in the workplace. So, how do we rectify that?
Thank you so much, Adil. Good to hear from you after a very long time. Um, so I think you're talking, it has to, again, going back to that part in my presentation where I spoke about that, it has to start from you, but then how do you translate it into your organizational grateful mindset? So if you are someone who's a part of a team or leading a team, you have to practice what you preach. You can't just tell everybody that, okay, we're going to be grateful from tomorrow onwards, or why aren't you more grateful, or why don't you say Alhamdulillah more? You've got so many things going on for you. Stating the obvious is quite often not the best strategy to go for when you want to develop a grateful mindset, or a more grateful culture, a culture that practices gratitude, where employees practice gratitude on a regular basis. You can't do that without practicing what you preach. So if you want to build on trust, or if you want everybody to ultimately start thinking with a more grateful mindset, it only comes about when you start practicing what you preach, when you set goals for your teams, when you actually incorporate gratitude as a business strategy. So it has to be a part of your corporate strategy as well. That's what I wholeheartedly believe in. If you don't set it as a goal for improving your team environments, your team members are never going to develop that trust or develop that relationship with you. One of the biggest benefits of adopting this grateful mindset is the social interactions that you develop. Everybody becomes helpful, everybody becomes more sociable. So, and there are more meaningful connections that you establish with your team members. So once you start practicing this mindset, you're able to achieve those social goals, those meaningful interactions with your team members. And that's only when you're able to take a step towards a trusting atmosphere, and a culture where gratitude is practiced on a regular basis. Has to come from you, though. Can't go the other way around.
Okay. There's a question from my colleague Aisha. She wants to ask, like, she wants to unmute herself and ask. Aisha, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's not a question, it's more of a comment, Kamal. And I would like to, I've taken a bit from your presentation where you talk about gratitude as a business strategy, and it should be linked with your team. I think I just want to add it's something that we practice every Friday in the glue meeting, where all our team members at Octara, we sit together and we share our daily routine, a weekly round of kind of sort of thing, and then we share what we do, and then on a lighter note, we share discussion about lifelong learning lessons. So it's an activity which was initiated by JJ. He asked us to read some reading material from the past publications, and he asked us to reflect our thoughts and what are our opinions, what are our general thinking about it. And it's a very light way of it's a very on a very lighter side, we connect each other, and we were able to appreciate each other ideas and each other thoughts, and take so much from each other. So I think it's a way we were taking it as a strategy also, and acknowledging each other ideas in an informal way, and also getting to know each other better than in a formal work relationship. So I totally agree with you that it's something, it should be taken as a business strategy, and Octara is somehow it's practicing it from the last, I think, past 2 years.
Yeah, well,
That's
you've
about
got a brilliant leader. So no, as in,
Yeah.
I don't doubt that Octara has this as a business strategy for themselves. But thank you so much, Aisha. Hearing out professionals who are practicing this already in today's times, particularly these turbulent times that we are going through, it's such an eye opener for all of us, whether we are professionals or caretakers. It just makes you think that maybe the way we are tackling work, or maybe the way we are growing, it can become better, or the way we are leading our professional and personal lives, it can become better. So thank you so much for sharing this really great, insightful example from how you and your team
Like,
come together every Friday and practice this mindset.
Okay, now
yeah,
let's
thank you for
take the
giving the
last.
perspective to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, can we just take the last question? It's from Akib Iqbal Sati. It's what's an aspect of how you were presented for which you feel grateful?
Sorry, could you repeat the question again, Zena?
Yeah, I'm having a bit internet issue. What's an aspect of how you were presented for which you feel grateful?
How you were presented for which you feel grateful?
Parented. Sorry.
Parented. All right, all right. Sorry, who asked this question? Akib, if I'm not wrong.
Akib.
Akib, thank you so much for this question. Um, a great deal of who we become is, comes from the learnings that our elders incorporate in us, and our the environments that we grew up in at home as well. And I think हमारे culture की जो सबसे बेहतरीन बात ये है कि शुक्रगुजार होना और शुक्र करना जो है वो हमारे अंदर embedded है, यानी कि आप किसी से भी बात करें, कोई इसको lightly नहीं लेता, सबको ये पता है कि हमें शुक्र करना चाहिए. So parenting, culture, all of these things, I would like to say, we are fortunate enough that we're actually halfway there. We already know the importance of being grateful और शुक्र का इजहार करना या किसी को थैंक यू कहना. बट यहाँ पे चैलेंज क्या आता है? चैलेंज क्या आता है कि हम इसको बस उधर ही छोड़ देते हैं कि हम शुक्र कर लिया, हमने अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह कर लिया, किसी को शुक्रिया कह दिया, that's it. We need to take it one step forward through all the strategies that I communicated in the webinar. We need to express more, be more specific, attach goals to it, understand that it has to be something that we think about, that we document, that we quantify. And that's when all this, these benefits that we get from parenting, that we get from our cultures at home, our environments at home, they can actually help transcend into success for ourselves personally and for our teams, and we are able to develop a grateful mindset that actually helps us in taking care of ourselves and achieving our goals. However, that being said, there are some professionals that I've interacted with, particularly students for that matter, who are still like generation Z ke jo students hote hain, they're still in that phase of their lives where some of them do not come from homes or families where they have everything in control, and they don't come from families जो कि उनको nurture करती हैं, या they don't have stable environments at home. That being said, it still doesn't mean that we are not able to develop a grateful mindset. If we read up about it, if we understand the benefits related to it, if we understand how much of an integral role it can play in our personal and organizational success, we can change things. We can move mountains if we want to. So again, if someone doesn't come from a strong parental background, someone doesn't come from a stable home environment, or someone has actually gone through huge upheavals in their lives, that still doesn't mean that we are not able to bring about this positive change in ourselves. Again, it's an act of self-care. We're doing it for us first, and then we understand that it's something that transcends into positive effects for people around us, for our families, for our employees, for our organizations. So it's something you owe to yourself. And speaking from a personal experience, it's brought about a remarkable change in my life. And anything positive that you would like to do for yourself, whether it's being physically healthy, whether it's doing something for yourself that makes you happy, some healthy habit that you want to adopt, this mindset, it helps you become mentally strong so that you are able to take it in the long term, stick to it. It's very difficult to stick to changes that you bring about in your lives. We've heard of so many people जो कि जिम की मेंबरशिप ले लेते हैं for like a week, जाते हैं लगा के जिम जाते हैं, फिर उसके बाद छोड़ देते हैं, या खाना अपना जो है हेल्दियर कर लेते हैं, या अपनी फैमिली को विजिट करना ज्यादा शुरू करते हैं, लेकिन ये सिर्फ थोड़े थोड़े टाइम की बात होती है. क्यों? Because it's very difficult to continue these motivational spells in the long term. हम कोई motivational training attend करते हैं, उसको attend करके हमारे अंदर जज्बा आता है, हम एक दो दिन करते हैं और फिर उसके बाद हम कुछ नहीं करते और फिर कहते हैं कि ये जो स्पीकर थे इनके अंदर दम नहीं था, इनकी बात में सही नहीं था, हमने तो कुछ नहीं किया. Your motivation comes from you, and developing a grateful mindset can help you change your life around from a personal experience, as in change your life around completely. So that's basically you're welcome. That's basically what I wanted to say in response to your question.
Okay. Thank you, Kamal. Thank you for explanation. Now I would like to request JJ to come over and share some thanking notes. JJ.
Yeah. Thank you for a very enlightening 1 hour that we have spent since 2 o'clock your time, 3 o'clock your time. I think it was a very useful roadmap that you have given us, Kanwal, in terms of having a mindset that is accepting the challenges to become more and more grateful. I think the thing that we have, we need to be also remembering for inculcating within us a grateful mindset is that we should be grateful for 2 very important things that we've been given. One is the gift of life. I think, if that is something that we can remember always, this is a gift that has been given to us by the God Almighty. And from that emanates all the other things that require for a good life and to success. That you've been given a gift, so utilize that gift for good and for success. The second gift and the second reason for gratefulness is that you've been born into a country which is so much caring, so much. I mean, it's a country that is beautiful in its scope and has so much of potential for you to be successful in your long life. So we have to be grateful for being born, number one, and being born in where we are born in Pakistan. So if we basically keep remembering these 2 things, everything emanates, every other grateful act emanates from these 2 thoughts that you mentioned. And we are very thankful for you to have given us a roadmap and having for us to remind ourselves that we have to be taking care of ourselves, and for success we need to be more grateful. And it was so well reinforced also by Aisha with her own examples. And Kanwal, I must mention over here that I've seen you reinventing yourself over the last few years because of the application of what you've been giving us in terms of a roadmap. So I would recommend everyone to actually look at it a little more seriously, because you are a success as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure other people can also look at it from a successful point of view. So in the end, I'd like to thank everyone Aisha, yourself for coming in and giving us your thoughts. Most of all, thanks to Kanban for your time and for the excellent presentation. We would like to thank all the participants, and I'd like to mention a few organizations for which we're very thankful for, in a way, motivating us and supporting us. Participants came from Pakistan Paper, from Jaffer Brothers, from TCS, from NCCPL, from Atlas Funds, from Aga Khan University Hospital. Thank you all participants for being with us. On an average, we had about 55 to 56 participants, and they're still there. So that speaks very well of your presentation, Kanban. And also thanks to the team of Tara who has put this program together and has delivered it to what I would call very great satisfaction. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Tara team. Thank you again,
so
all
much,
participants.
JJ, for the kind words. Thank you to all the participants who joined us today. And I'm so glad to see that 53 of you, and, like a short while back, 56, 59, everybody, stayed throughout. And I'm so glad that we all connect on this. And I hope that all of us implement this in our lives, because we need this. We need this. That's something the pandemic has most certainly taught us. So I hope that all of you got to take away something from this session. And I hope it brings about fantastic transformations in your lives, positive, healthy, happy transformations, not only on a personal level, on a professional level as well, in all aspects of your lives. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Zainab, Aisha, Sarim, for managing this session so well. You guys let me be, absolutely, worry-free about so many aspects related to this online webinar. Thank you so much.
Okay, I just want to take few minutes of the participants and Dr. Kamal. I just want to share one of the screen with you. It's about our upcoming virtual programs, which is like we are having a program on digital transformation for HR and on strategy and marketing with Frank on 23rd and 24th of June. And then we are also having a online training with Hamad Siddiqui, who's going to talk about how you can brand yourself on LinkedIn. It's on it's a modular program which will start from Friday. It's June 25. Then we have some programs related to something, just what we have talked about in July. It's on EI with our very well-known trainer, international associate, John Bentley. And we have also on innovation and design thinking with Mark Stewart. And then Catherine Bentley will talk about win customers through effective communication. So if anyone of you would like to join, or you want to participate, or need any further information, you can contact my colleague, Sarim Atik. His details are given over here. And thank you everyone for your time. And thank you, Kamal. And we'll touch base soon on this gratitude thing.
Inshallah.
Is this going to be? Is this being recorded? And
yes,
is it going to be available on the Zainab?
Yes, JJ. Yes, this recording will be available on our YouTube channel, and so we're gonna share the digital certificates, and in the same we'll send you the link also.
And when will the recording be available?
In a day or two.
Okay, that's good.
Right.
Once again, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a great day ahead. Allah Hafiz.